Welcome to Diamonds and Dumpster Fires, the show where we talk about finding strength when life falls apart. I'm your host, Melie, and around here, resilience isn't perfection. It's falling flat, getting back up, and maybe laughing about it later. From breakups to breakthroughs, we mix faith, neuroscience, and a little sass to help you rebuild a life that actually feels like yours. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, resilient ones, and welcome back to Diamonds and Dumpster Fires. I'm Melie, and I am really glad that you're here. So if you are listening to this in early January, I just want to say something that I think a lot of us are feeling this time of year, but not always naming. And that is that the new year can feel pretty heavy. There's this expectation that January is supposed to feel fresh and motivating and super full of clarity. It's almost like we get this idea that we should wake up on January 1st with a brand new personality, a color-coded planner, and some 5-year vision board. And if that is your reality, honestly, I love that for you, but that is definitely not how it is for me. So if you are like me and you're tired, you might be grieving or rebuilding or just quietly trying to keep going this year, this episode is for you. Because today I am not going to be talking about resolutions. I am not at all going to be talking about reinventing yourself, and I will definitely not even broach the topic of trying to fix yourself. Instead, I just want to share 3 practices that you can carry into the new year. They're not goals to achieve, but just practices that you can return to, especially on those days when you don't really feel like you have much to give. These practices are gentle, they're grounded, they're meant to support your nervous system, your faith, and your real life, not just some idealized version of it. You don't need to do all 3. You don't need to do them perfectly. If one sticks, that's more than enough. So let's get into it. What do you say? Let's start with the first one. Practice number 1 is name the season that you're in. That's it. Just name the season you're in, not the season you wish you were in, not the season you think you should be in, but the season you are actually in. There is something that is incredibly regulating about naming what is true. From a neuroscience perspective, simply putting language to our internal experiences can help calm the amygdala, which is that part of the brain that scans for threat. When we name what's happening, our nervous system gets the message that we're not lost, we're not in danger, we're oriented. And from a faith perspective, Scripture is full of seasons. Ecclesiastes tells us that there's a time for everything, for planting and uprooting, mourning and dancing, holding on and letting go. Seasons are not a failure of faith, they're a part of being human. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to guide you through this exercise, naming your season. We're going to practice it together now. So if you are somewhere safe to do so, just take a pause for a moment. Take a slow breath in through your nose and then a longer breath out through your mouth. Again, just inhale gently and exhale slowly. Now, I'm going to invite you to finish this sentence. You can do this either silently or out loud. This is a season of, and you're going to fill in the blank. There's no right answer. It might be, this is a season of rebuilding. It could be, this is a season of surviving, waiting, healing, learning, grieving, resting, transition, uncertainty, quiet strength. Just let the word come to you without overthinking it, and once you have it, just sit with it for a moment. You're not going to try to fix anything. You're not going to try to reframe anything right now. No silver lining yet, just naming. And here is why this matters. When you name the season, you actually stop asking yourself to do what you can't. So, for example, if you're in a winter season, you're not going to ask yourself to bloom like you're in spring. That alone can be a profound act of kindness toward yourself. And I will tell you, I have done this now several times, but last year around this time, I was trying to, muscle my way through everything and get a lot done. And, I was starting up this podcast and I was working and I was doing all these things, which I'm still doing, but I was in this season of honestly uncertainty. And so I was doing and doing more and more in order to, I guess you could say, remove the uncertainty, but it was just causing more stress for me. And it took me until I actually named it. I am in a season of uncertainty, that allowed myself to sit with that, to allow that to be the case, and to show myself that act of kindness. So now we're going to move on to practice number 2. And this one is choose one daily anchor. You just choose one. You don't need to come up with a full routine. It doesn't need to be an overhaul to your morning or, 12 new habits, which you will absolutely abandon by February. An anchor is something small and repeatable that tells your nervous system, I am safe, I am grounded, I am here. Anchors don't move the boat forward, they keep it from drifting. And a neuroscience perspective, our brains love predictability, especially when we're in seasons of stress or change. And spiritually, daily return, coming back again and again, is a theme that we see over and over in Scripture. Not perfection, return. So what could your anchor be? Your anchor might be something like a short prayer that you repeat each morning. It could be something like one row of knitting done slowly and intentionally before you start your day. That one sounds a lot of fun. It could be a 60-second breathing pause. Maybe you don't even have 60 seconds. Maybe it's a 20-second breathing pause. Your anchor could be a simple check-in question like, what do I need today? It should feel like something that's doable even on your worst day. So if it feels super impressive and big, it's probably too much. If you write down something like, I'm going to have my anchor be writing 3 full pages in my journal and, taking an ice bath, that's probably too much for everyday anchors, right? So let's walk through choosing an anchor. First, just take a deep breath. And now ask yourself, what is one small thing that I could return to most days? Not every day, but most days. We got to allow ourselves a little grace, right? Let the answer be simple. Once you have it, imagine yourself doing that anchor on a day when you're tired, or on a day when you feel discouraged, on a day when you don't feel spiritual or motivated or focused. Does it still feel like something that's possible? If yes, then that could be your anchor. So let's do a little guided practice here. I'll model one with you. If your anchor is breath, you would say place one hand on your chest or your abdomen, inhale slowly for a count of 4, pause gently at the top, and exhale for a count of 6. So let's try it. Inhale for 4, pause, exhale for 6. That longer exhale tells your nervous system that it can stand down. You're not in any danger, and you can do this anywhere. No one even has to know you're doing it. So remember, you don't need more discipline. You just need something that you can come back to easily, and that is what anchors are for. So now let's get into practice number 3, practice gentle honesty. This one is something that I think we often underestimate. Practicing gentle honesty with ourselves means telling the truth about where you are with kindness. Not brutal honesty, not spiraling honesty, just gentle honesty. And faith doesn't require pretending. Healing doesn't happen when we gaslight ourselves into being just fine, right? The Psalms are a place that I love to go when I'm trying to practice gentle honesty because they are full of honesty. So let's do a little guided exercise here. We're going to do an honest check-in. So take a breath and then finish this sentence. Right now, I have capacity for, and fill in the blank. Maybe it's rest, small steps, showing up imperfectly, asking for help, or doing less. And then once you've done that, follow it up with this. Right now, I do not have capacity for, and let both be true. You're not quitting, you're calibrating. So remember, gentle honesty isn't giving up. It's choosing truth over pressure. It's admitting limits and changing how you move forward. So as we wrap up for today's short episode, I just want to remind you, you don't need to carry all of these practices into the new year. One is absolutely enough. You can choose to start naming your season, you can choose an anchor, or you can choose to practice gentle honesty. If that is all you do this month, just know you are still doing meaningful work. And I just want to say, if having a place to check in, reflect, and receive personalized prompts can help you stay grounded, that is why I created Renewed Mind. You've heard about it before here on the podcast, and I'm going to mention it again. But it does give you a place to practice all these different things without having to even think about it. The app will create a personalized exercise just for you when you need it. So, whether you use the app or not, these practices that I talked about today are absolutely for you. And remember this, you are not behind, you are not broken, you are allowed to move forward gently, and I am really glad you're here. Until next time, resilient ones, keep finding those diamonds, even in the dumpster fires. That's a wrap on this episode of Diamonds in Dumpster Fires. If you're walking through the ashes right now, remember, you're not broken. You are becoming. Don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend who needs it, and come back next week for more faith, honesty, and a whole lot of heart. See you next time.